Citizens' Assembly on Brexit was held over 2 weekends in September 2017. It brought together 50 randomly selected citizens who reflected the diversity of the UK electorate. The Citizens' Assembly on Brexit aimed to provide much needed, robust public input into the Brexit process and show the value of deliberative public engagement on controversial areas of public policy.
We're trying to do three things with the Citizens' Assembly. The first is that we want to understand public opinion on Brexit better. We've got opinion polls, but we don't have much sense of what people think when they've really had the chance to learn about the issues and think about them. The second aim is that we want informed public opinion to influence the Brexit process itself, and we'll be working really hard to make sure that politicians and the media know what the people in the Assembly have said and what they've concluded. The third aim is that we want to understand better how this kind of democratic process works. Is this a good way of doing democracy? And hopefully we'll learn about how to do this kind of deliberative exercise better in the future.
So we know that British voters voted to leave the European Union, but we don't know what British voters think leaving the European should look like. What form should it take? And the role of the Assembly is to allow citizens to explore that very question.
My thoughts are it's surprising at how close people's opinions are when we're actually forced to sit down and talk about it and actually discuss it.
So what we do is we have professional facilitators who are skilled at making sure that everybody has an opportunity to speak. Some people are more confident, some people are less confident. Some people are more experienced, some people are less experienced, and so we make sure that we facilitate the conversations to ensure that everyone is heard and all voices are heard.
One of the key features of the design of the Assembly is that we're impartial in how we've set it up. So the speakers come from a wide variety of different views. The materials that the members receive are balanced between all sorts of different perspectives. In order to achieve that, we have tried very hard within our own team, but we also have a fantastic advisory group that consists of some people whose job it is to give impartial information on Brexit, and some other people who are campaigners or academics who have strong views on the kind of Brexit that we should be pursuing. And they've been fantastic in working with us to ensure that the programme is balanced and fair.
Well, I was invited to come and talk to the Citizens' Assembly. My area obviously is trade. Trade is a huge component of what we're trying to do in the UK in terms of leaving the European Union in a way that minimises the trade disruptions that people will experience and maximises the trade opportunities. So what I'd like to talk about is how you do that, how you maximise the opportunities and minimise the disruptions.
Well, this morning I had the unenviable task of explaining the EU and the Brexit process in, I think it was 6.5 minutes or something. And the only point I wanted to make is this, I suppose. The EU is complicated and its impact on us is complicated because it makes binding laws, and there are laws that affect every single part of our economy. And given that it's been going on for 40 years, Brexit as a process will be difficult, will be tricky. Doesn't mean it can't be done, but it means that it's going to be complicated.
Well, you won't be surprised that as an economist, most of the questions I got were about economics, quite rightly. But what really surprised me, looking at the notice board, looking at people's concerns, talking sort of out of the formal part of the proceedings, were how many people had concerns about human rights, about the environment, about welfare issues, distributional consequences.
There are negotiations going on in Brussels involving ministers. Parliament is debating what Brexit should look like, and we haven't had a chance to hear from citizens on those more detailed issues. So that's what we're asking citizens to consider, particularly the trade-offs between trade and on the one hand and immigration on the other.
I think what's really striking is just how engaged they are, not just with this exercise, but with the Brexit process generally. They've clearly thought a lot about it. I think they're frustrated by their lack of knowledge prior to the referendum, and also how much there is to know and to understand and to process. But what's really striking is just how determined they are to get to the bottom of what they need to know.
I would like to see the report presented to Parliament. I mean, I can give it to our MP, but it needs to go further than that, and what I don't want to see is it ending up in some cellar somewhere.